Hello and welcome to our Global Channel Chief interview series for the Canalys Channels Forum. I'm delighted to be joined by Pascal Bourguet, who is the Global Channel Chief for Lenovo. Pascal, great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, you're welcome. Now, congratulations on your new role. Can you tell us a bit about the new organizational structure for Lenovo and what it means for customers?
Well, at Lenovo, we've been evolving constantly the way that we are doing business. And we are transforming our best-in-class sales teams to be more responsive, connected, and more transparent. At the beginning of the fiscal year, we have organized our company into 3 global business groups. One which is called ISG, Infrastructure and Solution Group. The other one which is called IDG, Intelligent Device Group. And the third one which is called SLG, newly created, Service and Solution Group. And this to become an even more customer-centric global organization. On the go-to-market side, we have integrated our geo models into 2 parts. First one comprising China, and the second one, which is called ISO, International Sales Organization, led by Matt Zelinsky, which is made of North America, EMEA, Latin America, and APJ. And the goal there is to support the 3 business groups and to build an even stronger winning sales culture in order to better serve our customers and partners. And at the birth of this organization, very quickly, we figured out that it was the right thing to do to create a global channel organization, which I'm very excited to lead. And with the geo teams, with the market teams, with the IT and global ops team, we're working together. We are federated behind one project, which is called Lenovo 360, which is the name of our global channel framework.
Okay, great. Well, a lot to unpack there, and we'll go into a bit more detail. But before I get into that, obviously the pandemic has changed working life for all of us. Can you talk a bit about what your working life looks like now, how you're operating? Are you meeting customers? Are you meeting partners again?
Well, as a global company, the situation is different region by region. And we're leaving it to the local authorities and protocols to decide on the return to the office and travel policy. That said, I don't think that the world is ever going to get back to normal, as we have been benefiting from general technology in having a more efficient way to connect and engage with each other and also be more efficient in our work. So I am excited to see that in some of the cases, like today, we got some people traveling back again and going back to the office, and it feels good, certainly, to see our customers and partners again, and obviously to see our colleagues again.
Yeah, and of course it's great for us to be doing this face-to-face as well, which
absolutely
we weren't doing last year. So, of course, technology has benefited a lot from the pandemic as well. I mean, the industry is doing very well, and Lenovo has seen exceptionally strong growth. And you were number 1 in devices. Can you talk a bit about the results for Lenovo by category? What's happened? What's been driving your growth?
So we have observed very strong growth across all businesses and across all regions. Maybe where the growth is the strongest is on the SMB side, also on the mid-market side, and on the public sector side. When it comes to the product groups, we've seen growth in the infrastructure group, growth into the endpoint PC group, and we've seen very strong hypergrowth on the service side as well. When it comes to the geographical theaters, we kept number 1 position in EMEA on the PC side for the 2nd time in a row, 25.6% market share. On the infrastructure side, we've been acquiring in EMEA more than 2,000 net new customers and having a triple-digit growth year to year in the last fiscal year results. In Latin America, we have held our number 2 position on the mobile phone business, shrinking our gap with the number 1 to the smallest gap ever at 20% market share, about 20% market share. Likewise, we've been having tremendous growth on the PC side, close to 85% growth year to year in Latin America. We are number one there in consumer, and we are number one in Brazil in a lot of the customer segments. In APJ, we have the number one PC position, and there we've got the highest from all the geos, Microsoft's cloud service provider business. And on the service side and solution side, we've been having tremendous growth in APJ as well. And in North America, where I used to operate, we had the strongest than any other vendor growth on the PC side, on the Android side and the OEM side. We kept number one position in Canada for the second time in a row, and we had also historic results on the infrastructure and service side. So very strong results across the board.
Well, what are you seeing from the infrastructure side? That's a smaller business for Lenovo. Are you seeing a recovery in infrastructure projects in on-premises investments?
We've been seeing significant growth, particularly in the last 6 to 9 months on the infrastructure side. The growth has picked up pretty much at the same time as the PC growth has picked back up. So I would say close to a year ago. But it probably picked up slightly later on the infrastructure side. We particularly see some significant growth on some big infrastructure project, but also on the SMB side, where we are seeing some solution and service business picking back up and driving new business opportunities for Lenovo.
So how important is the channel to your strategy and your success then, Pascal?
So let me be very straight. We've got a unique position on the market. We are the channel-first IT generalist vendor with such a great legacy of trust with the channel partner, with a portfolio from the pocket to the cloud, fueled by innovation, supported by the highest standards of quality and design, and driving the best customer experience. So we are channel-first in our blood.
And will partners have the same experience in whether they're selling client devices or infrastructure?
I think that's the case. From everything that we've been hearing from our partners and customers, and also from some of the data that we've got internally, we can claim loud and clear that we are a channel-first company.
Are you starting to see that already? Because obviously, partners may have a preferred brand on the server side or on the PC side. So how to what extent are partners kind of embracing that idea of selling across the portfolio? Are there any particular examples you can point to?
Yeah, at the beginning of fiscal year, we have appointed small teams, which we call the Tiger teams, coming from different backgrounds, from the infrastructure side or from the PC side onto the service side. And these Tiger teams have been set targets which were made to overdrive on their regular target. And that has enabled those teams to connect with each other, get them to doing more, define these initiatives, which have defined the foundations of what is Lenovo 360 today as a global channel framework, and has already driven some very significant progress, particularly on the mid-market and on the channel side. So we have started now on the real transformation. A key milestone which is happening as early and has already begun in the last couple of days, has started on October 1st, is the transformation that we are doing on our team, as we are bringing together under one single channel leader in roughly 14 markets in the world, the Untitled Portfolio and the entire channel team. And this one channel leader is going to lead in those 14 markets the Lenovo teams that would be the face to the channel partners. So this is bringing to the partners an easy way to engage with the Lenovo teams across the entire portfolio, and for us it's an opportunity to expand the business of our partners to the full breadth of the portfolio. So But it's not a specialist model. Let's make no mistake. It's a model which is making it easy for the partners to engage and connect with Lenovo. But it's a model where we recognize and value the importance of the specialized sales and the specificities that are required to sell on the data center side, to sell on the solution side, or to sell on the service side versus selling on the PC side. It's obviously a very different selling motion, and the technical capabilities which are required are different.
And can you talk about the program? Because obviously you've unified the program now. What will that look like, and what can partners expect?
So the Lenovo 360 channel framework is actually around three pillars: people, which I've just talked about, programs, and tools. On the program side, we are announcing today, actually with you, the key changes that are going to happen specifically related to the program, which is the Lenovo 360 program. Let me start by saying that the way that we've been thinking through Lenovo 360 is particularly made not to disrupt our channel partners' business. All the partners that used to enjoy the program they had are going to carry on enjoying their programs. All the partners that are happy to carry on doing that way used to do on the PC side or infrastructure side, they'll be able to do so, and there will be no disruption to their business, except that it will be happening under the Lenovo 360 umbrella. But it's meant not to disrupt any of our partner business. However, for those partners who want to embark with us on this service and solution-led transformation journey, there are opportunities. And there are opportunities to expand their portfolio. There are opportunities to drive business and drive new earnings. And for that, we are bringing three new things on the program side. So let me start by the first one, Better Together. The Better Together program is made to have our partners overachieving on their business targets and driving hypergrowth, specifically on the infrastructure and solution side. The second is pillar is solutions. We're bringing this new set of solutions that will be announced at the Gartner Symposium on November 8th. And this set of solutions has been thought through for, and I would say by the channel, in the sense that we've been involving our channel partners in the thinking process of the go-to-market and the conception of those solutions. And the solutions are made to be easy to sell, intuitive, scalable, from the pocket to the cloud, and very easy to sell. They are defined on business outcomes, and they will be customizable by vertical. So we have absolutely in mind the necessity to have some vertical relevance with our solutions. And the partners will be able to sell those solutions and make earnings, make business, and through a solution rate card and a TrueScale accelerator, that will be the opportunity to drive earnings through this business opportunity. The third pillar is the Eag portfolio that we are bringing to market. Again, we've been thinking this Eag portfolio, a sustainable set of offerings with the channel in mind and for the channel. And they will be available in the top 8 markets starting January, starting with our asset return service and our CO2 offset offerings. So on the asset return service, we'll be able to propose to the channel a journey where there will be building blocks over time, where we involve them in the way that we are delivering the program. And on the CO2 offset offering, as Lenovo is walking a path through net zero carbon emission, we'll also propose to the channel partners to manage their indirect emission with a CO2 offset offering that will be beneficial for their customers and also for their business.
Great. Well, that sounds very powerful. And obviously the theme of our event is Thrive. So that very much fits with what we're talking about at the Canalys forums. So one thing you mentioned was TrueScale. Lenovo has announced an everything as a service strategy under the TrueScale brand. That's a bit of an evolution from the past. Can you talk about how you see as a service models developing and what kind of adoption you see?
Sure. TrueScale is the name of the umbrella brand for everything as a service in Lenovo. It's a very important framework for us as our portfolio is operating from PC to endpoint to services and also as solutions. So TrueScale is the name of as a service for infrastructure as a service, solution as a service, software as a service, and device as a service. This will bring flexibility for our customers from CapEx to OpEx. But this also will bring some new consumption models, which is very interesting for us to explore. TrueScale is a journey. Today, we've got some building blocks to make it relevant and actionable for the channel partners, like we've got for device as a service in EMEA, which is available in a lot of the European countries. We are thinking of expanding this building block, device as a service in North America. And as we are expanding the different offerings that we've got on as a service, infrastructure, solutions, we'll be working hard to integrate those offerings and the building blocks to give the possibilities for the partners to price and configure through our tools. So it's a journey on which we are embarking, and I can tell you that as we speak, our IT teams are working really hard to make it easy to sell and easy to configure for the channel partners.
And that will be a key thing, won't it? To make sure it's enabled and optimized for the partners, because this is all about allowing them to deliver it to market. How do you make sure that happens?
Well, it's something that we need to work out. As a channel-first company, we need to work with our partners to define those service delivery model, which we have to work on together so that we can enable the channel and us to partner and drive business for as a service in a model which is benefiting to both parties. So that's something that we have to work out in the coming months.
Okay, great. Now, there's one topic that is on top of mind of everybody in the industry at the moment is supply. Our industry has been hamstrung by supply problems. Can you talk about what the situation is now for Lenovo, what partners can expect going into the end of the year and into 2022? And do you see growth continuing at the level it is currently?
All right, a lot of questions. So let's start by supply. The semiconductor supply challenges is obviously an industry challenge, and we see this continuing throughout 2022. That said, the results that we had in the last few quarters from market share standpoint are making the point that we have been able to make very well despite those challenges. And here, our size, our scale, our strong supply and partner relationship are enable us to ship very quickly as soon as parts arrived. What is working well there is our ability to scale. We've got a vast network of suppliers and partners that enabling us to maximize available supply and ship very quickly. On the supply chain part, we've been awarded by Gartner in the global top 25 supply chain list to the rank number 16, which is a big credit to the way that our supply chain is operating. Now, looking ahead, I'm very confident that we'll continue to maneuver through the complexity of this supply chain with the leadership of Jamin Tu as our group COO. The way that we've been managing the supply shortages between our Lenovo team and supply chain is leaving us very confident that this will continue and we'll be able to hopefully carry on being number one PC vendor in the world and also manage some of the shortages that we got on the infrastructure side.
Okay, great.
So now to your last question, which is, do you think it's going to stay and is there growth in the industry? Yes, we really believe that we are ahead of tremendous momentum of growth in the coming quarters, specifically on the commercial side. We started to see some slowdown of the growth and some decline in some areas of the world on the retail side because we're starting to annualize numbers which are very high. Also, although it's growth versus the previous year, it's still declined versus last year. But on the commercial side, we've got no signs of a slowdown in growth whatsoever. It's just the opposite. We're finishing the quarter with a backlog which is very strong, whether it is on the endpoint or whether it's on the infrastructure side. We see no slowdown in demand on the commercial side.
Okay, great. That's very positive. Let's hope it continues. Thank you very much, Pascal, for talking to us.
Well, thanks for having me, and looking forward to the rest of the days together.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be doing this Lenovo Channel Chief interview with Sumir, Bhatia, and Amar, Babu, who run Lenovo in Asia Pacific. Guys, it's great to have you here. Let's start by asking how you're doing during the pandemic. How's things been for you? Amar, we'll go to you first.
Wonderful and great to be back again, Steve. I know we're doing this virtually. Would have loved to be in person with you, but at least good to connect up, right? So yeah, I think the pandemic has been a life-changing event as for everyone. For me personally, of course, I moved into this new role. But as I look back, I think what's really amazing from Lenovo perspective, the Lenovo teams, our partners, everyone, is how despite all the challenges, people have been able to grab great business. Got great results, great business. It's been good. Of course, I do miss the interactions, the personal meetings. Hopefully it'll start sooner or later, and I look forward to meeting everyone in person. I think definitely the virtual world is good, but not the perfect world.
And Sumir, are you traveling yet, Sumir?
Yeah, I echo that. You know, I mean, the virtual world is, I think everybody adapted extremely well. It's been a tough, 2 years, but it's also been very, very fulfilling. I mean, if I look from an ISG perspective, this financial year, we revitalized our data center group business under the new banner of Infrastructure Solutions Group. And that was really done because we're moving away from just the data center and doing a lot of other things and adding value to the customers. Like Amar, I miss the interactions, the face-to-face interactions, and that's something that I'm really, really looking forward to getting back on a plane and getting in front of customers.
So, Sumir, go a little bit more detail. You say you're moving away from, not moving away from data center, you're adding to the data center business. Can you
Absolutely.
do more words on what that means?
Yeah, so look, I mean, if you really look at it, the customers, it's not just about the server storage, but it's really an end-to-end solution, which goes to the right from the edge to the cloud, and this One Lenovo focus that we have, and we'll talk a little bit about it. As I like to say, it's really moving from the pocket to the data center to the cloud. So looking at the edge, looking at what's in the data center, and everything as a service that we're providing our customers really adapts very well to the tag of Infrastructure Solution Group to our customers. So no, we're not moving away from the data center. That's core, but it's a lot of things around it, multi-cloud, edge, and so forth.
Amar, let me ask you: are you traveling yet? Have you done?
I started traveling within India, Steve. I made one trip to the UK, but that was more a personal trip. And but I am now, like I said, ready to get to Europe and US because they will let me in. Most of Asia Pacific, unfortunately, is closed. So, but I just heard that Japan is going to let in people with the 3 days quarantine. Not too bad. So I've told my secretary the first plane that I'm able to get on, I will be there.
Okay, so
partners.
So I think I might join you. It'd be great to be able to spend a week or so in Japan right now. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure you know that, Steve. Tokyo is a great place to be.
Yeah. And obviously, Amar, it's been a fantastic year for Lenovo. The results are tremendous. You just recently gave your update on the latest quarter. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about what's gone well in APAC? Which parts have been strong? Where's been strong?
I think APAC generally has mirrored our worldwide results, Steve. It's been very strong. Our AP Lenovo revenue, that's a little outside of Fujitsu Group, which we treat a little separately, has actually exceeded 2 billion for the first time, record revenues, record profits. So overall, very strong performance across the business. We continue to be number one in PCs in Asia Pacific. Our ISG business, that is Sumir's business, has grown very well, over 30% year on year, really strong growth, 15 points premium to the market. I think that's really great results. MBG, relatively small compared to other parts of Lenovo MBG business like Latin America, North America. But I think the beauty about the result that I'm proud about is it's been profitable growth across all our parts of Asia Pacific. And it's the highest profit in, I think, almost like 3 years. And we've had some great wins across many countries. So overall, pretty strong results. Japan, of course, has been a little bit of a challenge because of the Giga program being slow, and that was a big boost to the overall demand last year. But other than that, when I look at the Asia Pacific, excluding Japan, the markets are strong, business is also very strong. I'm very proud of how we've all been able to achieve great results.
And what about between consumer and commercial? Where's the strength been?
No, I think that's one thing that's a little different in Asia Pacific. I might add that we are seeing strength across both consumer and commercial. Some mature parts of Asia Pacific, we are seeing the consumer demand go down a little, like Japan, I just pointed out. But commercial is strong. You know, clearly this new world of work from home, work from anywhere, the new requirement for digitization is definitely driving demand across the entire spectrum of the architecture that Sumir was talking about, edge to cloud network and the intelligence. So, and we are seeing commercial spending come back quite strong.
And Sumir, obviously good set of results for ISG, but we're interested in how much of that is towards the big hyperscalers, the big public clouds, versus how the real run rate channel business is going. Also, because we're interested if there will be a return to spending in the on-premise data center and what you're seeing there.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, on the cloud, there's definitely a big growth there. But let me step away from there and talk about the enterprise SMB side of the business. And there's over 20% growth there. And most important, the areas of growth are around, to your point on the infrastructure side, software-defined infrastructure, storage, high-performance computing. These are the areas that we're actually growing in. And if you look at this, where the customers moving towards a hybrid environment or coming back towards that, a lot of them move to the cloud, but really consolidating their infrastructure in the multi-cloud hybrid environment. And this is where the growth is. Software-defined infrastructure, as I mentioned, is a tremendous growth across all our platforms, storage and high-performance computing. And in high-performance computing, it's not just the big deals, where you have those big, large binary deals. We're finding a lot of mid-size enterprise deals where customers are moving into, high-performance computing around AI, mining their data. And this is a great, great opportunity for many of our partners to really get into that high-performance AI mining of data environment. So those are areas where I'm very, very happy to announce, provide you information that we're actually growing in those areas that really, really matter.
Now, I don't know which one of you to address this question to, but obviously you've had a reorg as well over the last year and the introduction of the One Lenovo strategy, which means I think you two work closer together than you did historically. Does one of you want to talk about what that reorganization looks like?
Maybe Amar can, yeah.
Let me take the lead here, Steve. I think that, and as Matt shared in his keynote, and you heard from YY as well, right? It's very simple. The power of bringing together all the parts of Lenovo is immense, right? To our customers and to our partners. So, and as we look at this new world, right? Clearly, customers are asking for solutions. You've got digitization. I mean, when you want to work from home, security becomes a big issue. Deployment across the length and breadth of the country. I'm in India. Traditionally, most people work out of large cities, but today we suddenly find that many employees are working in very remote locations in India. Now, how do you support such a different wide infrastructure? So I think actually building out the entire solution end to end needed a different approach in terms of our go-to-market. So, now today in the ISO structure that Matt leads and I lead in Asia Pacific, we all work together. Sumir, the PC side, the phone side, and the services side, all of us come together to saying, how can we provide solutions? So it is a transformation. And it's not something that will happen overnight, but we've been now doing very focused, targeted pilots, if you may, in different parts of our business in different countries. And we are really excited, very, very encouraged by the kind of response and confidence that our customers are giving us, by our partners are giving us. And it's like, why didn't you guys think of this before, right? I think it's definitely something that we believe that as we learn better, adapt better, and be able to go to customers better, we'll be able to take our breadth of solutions, which is very impressive, across all our business groups, the IDG, ISG, SSG, that Matt outlined in his keynote, and bring that power to the customer so that the customer has the option to choose from on what solution they want. And also now with true scale, kind of everything as a service, also be able to decide how you want to consume and pay for that solution. So very exciting options. Very exciting opportunity forward, and definitely we want to be able to take that to our partners as well.
So maybe you can add to that, but also talk a little bit about how the partners have been doing in the region over the last 12 months.
So, obviously the partners have also needed to adapt to this, virtual world. And some of them have adapted better than some, as you would expect. But I think one thing that is common is that there is more demand. I think that's like maybe the most obvious statement, right? And when there is more demand, there is more opportunity for those who can take advantage of it. And many of our partners have actually done extremely well. And they've been able to bring solutions together. I'm seeing that partners who have the skill sets and the capability to build solutions rather than just giving point hardware or point solutions have been able to thrive and adapt better. So, of course, I know that supply chain is not the happiest moment at the moment. But as we look beyond that, when we look at the demand, when we look at the growth, when we look at the fact that fundamentally the way customers work, the way education is delivered, the way people work has changed, and all of that needs different kinds of IT solutions, devices, infrastructure, cloud, hybrid cloud, etc., and partners adapting into it. I think there is huge opportunity, and the ability to build those solutions has been very good. I'm actually pretty impressed to see how many partners have adapted to this new world, and I think it's kind of a foundation that's been set. I think it's also forced, and maybe you can add to this, Steve, digitization of partners themselves. Because sometimes partners have been a little reluctant. They sell the best of IT here, but not all of them have used it in-house. But now, this world is forced. And that has actually helped us to also engage with them and for them to engage with their partners, which I think is fantastic for the long run.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, again, Amar talked about skills, having the skills, but the other aspect is about acquiring the skills in a changing scenario. And I've seen partners over the last 2 years that have been successful are the ones that are actually, as Amar said, digitizing, changing. The ability to quickly change, skill up, and provide new solutions to their customers, moving away from just being a device company to a solution company and adapting. And for that, it's about really reskilling, refocusing in the current environment. And those were the partners that really, I saw that really did well, that really were willing to change. And it wasn't just about change in overall environment and the skills, but it was also in the mindset of the partners. This is a big change, and we have to change our mindset. And that's where I saw a lot of partners, the ones that were successful had that approach.
And Sumir, tell us about the launch of TrueScale and the move to as a service. How's that going?
Well, that's really exciting times. So look, first of all, as a service is transforming the tech industry, right? Now, and this is really beyond traditional IT support. And with TrueScale, at Lenovo, and Amar talked about the focus on across the organization. And that's what TrueScale does. It's across the organization. So it's all products, and I want to emphasize that it's all products. And it's also across a lot of customer segments. So whether they're small, mid to large customers, this is an opportunity for them to go and adopt and adapt the services. So it's actually going well. We've had some markets adopting much quicker than the others. If I give you an example, ANZ as an example, has always been very savvy on as a service. But what I've seen, and I'll give you a perspective, and Amar can add on from an IDG standpoint, but from an ISG standpoint, I'm also seeing a lot of customers and partners adopting this in the emerging markets, and it's moving really in a positive direction. I think initial customers have looked at this as a particular project. If you looked in the pandemic, right, I almost associate this with some customers having a big hole in the roof and they had to go and patch it up, and they started looking at small ways of doing this through as a service. And there were specific projects. It was like a test, putting their foot in the door. But they've started to expand in other areas, and we're seeing this from an ISG perspective. More and more customers now coming back and said, "Wow, this is working well. How can we go and expand this to other projects?" So yeah, it's moving in the positive directions. Amar, I don't know if you want to add anything further from a more holistic IDG point of view.
I think it's basically TrueScale is about bringing the power of One Lenovo as a service, right? And that cuts across all products, service offerings, and different parts of the business. Now, as a service has existed for a long time, Steve, and we know that, right? So, and it's not just a financing solution. I think generally people think that as a service is financing, but it's if it's a financing solution, frankly, the value add is limited. There is value add, but it's limited. It's actually about bringing in managed services on top of it, where the customer actually, it's almost like a utility. They consume a solution in bits and pieces, in bytes, rather than saying, I want this hardware with this service, with this software, with this, overall putting together as a solution. So, and our endeavor is that, okay, I will give you a smart collaboration solution and you pay it in a per use model, right? And how do we do that? So, of course, we are adapting, we are changing. Customers are also saying that, okay, there's a new way of looking at buying. It de-risks customers from technology upgrades, definitely allows them to grow as they grow. So I think there is a lot of flexibility, and we see this as a critical element of our services-led transformation as a company.
Okay, on to a more difficult topic now. I mentioned this in his speech. Obviously, it's not a secret anymore. There are shortages of pretty much everything in tech and many other areas as well. How are you managing that day to day, and how can you help the partners with these shortages?
Yeah, it's a really tough situation, Steve, and it's why Matt mentioned, it is not something that we like, but it is the reality. And I think customers have realized that this is not a Lenovo problem. It's not even an IT industry problem. It's cutting across anything that has smart or some kind of a silicon in it. And silicon capacity doesn't get built overnight. Of course, demand has also tremendously gone up. So I would say that a lot of our effort today is to really try and manage with what we have, trying to give customers the visibility to the best that we can. We ask for customers to plan ahead so that we have a little more lead time. We ask for customers to be flexible so that it allows us to take what we have. Our good news is that I think within the constraints, the Lenovo supply chain team has done a fantastic job and continues to do a fantastic job. I mean, if you just look at our results, I think that is kind of symbolic of what we've been able to do. Our global supply chain network, our relationship with our customers, with our partners, the vendors, I think has helped us being able to manage this. But having said that, definitely there is a challenge. We see some improvement in bits and pieces, but I think that maybe it's still going to be a few more quarters. I think people are still trying to project when we will get past this challenge. I do see it a couple of quarters away, and we are trying to work as best. Of course, we've been talking to customers, talking to partners, trying to make sure that at least we can communicate with them as transparently and also as openly as possible in this scenario, so that at least they have the reality of the information and can help make them, help them take the right decisions at the right time.
Now, I'm turning my attention now to 2022. Maybe with vaccination rates reaching 70% in many countries across the region, we should start to see some opening up. We're starting to see some opening up this month with some countries, as you mentioned, Japan, Thailand, other countries, hopefully, perhaps early in January. Are you optimistic for 2022 and thinking specifically about the channel? Any recommendations for how they do the return to normal?
No, I think definitely, I think 2022, the first thing is, of course, I think we will start meeting in person, right? And when you start meeting in person, there is a lot more that you can discuss. I think it is all about, there is a new normal that we are returning to, right? It's going to be different from what it was. And every industry is looking for digital solutions. Whether I talk about retail, I talk about manufacturing, education. There's so many places where we work with partners to provide solutions to our customers. And I think this is only going to improve. So I think working with our partners to start focusing on these opportunities. For example, right, I talked about smart collaboration. Now, a hybrid workplace is a reality. And I really don't think there are too many workplaces that are designed today for a hybrid work model, right? Where some people are sitting in the conference room and some people are virtual. Some part of it, but not to the extent that we would expect. So how do we work in this world and how do we provide solutions? So, and that's where, we are trying to bring in the whole Lenovo 360. We are trying to bring in solutions to our partners so that we can work with them to extend that. So I really think it's about how can partners adapt to this new normal, look at solutions, end-to-end solutions for the customers. And of course, we would like to work with them to make sure that we bring in the strength of One Lenovo so that they can take their solutions to their customers.
Yeah, and if I could just add, so when I talked about the skill sets, right? Constantly look at thriving in the smart normal. There's going to be a number of opportunities. I talked about data. We're talking about the environmental, for example, in high performance computing today, we have something called Neptune, which is a water-cooled solutions. And this is all available to partners. And to be able to do that, you really need to improve your skills, make sure you're thriving and changing in that. The other thing I advise is that from Lenovo's standpoint, that One Lenovo standpoint, and from an ISG also, we're constantly innovating. We're constantly innovating, and we want to make sure that we are the trusted partner for our partners. So we want to constantly innovate, work with our partners jointly with them, and also help them, skill sets, change the skill sets to be able to, provide these entire solutions to the customer. And there are so many opportunities out there as the end customer is starting to look at how can they ensure that the future mitigation, any other changes that happen. And if you look at the customer, I'm not sure everybody's, clear on where they're going to be. Is everybody going to move back to the workforce, or are they going to stay back? What level of hybrid is it going to be? And that affects the solutions that are actually going in. So really, it's a very, very dynamic environment, and we need to be dynamic in our thoughts to ensure that we go and support that. And that's my message to the partners for 2022. Be open, keep an open mind, be ready to change, and help your customers thrive.
Thank you for using the theme of this conference, the word thrive. And we chose the word thrive for two reasons. One's because the economy and the IT industry is doing very well and partners are doing very well, but also to symbolize the importance of the environment, climate change, sustainability in the world today. So what is Lenovo doing to improve its climate footprint?
So, the whole ESG part is a very, very big focus area for Lenovo. Steve. And in fact, I'm happy to be on the board of Lenovo's Diversity and Inclusion Council. And I think we've seen, and we've actually made public our goals, right? And we do have a list of goals. For example, 100% of our PC products by 25-26, we've said that will contain post-consumer recycled content, right? And 100% of our smartphone products and accessories will be free of PVC and BFR. We want to get 90% of our products with sustainable packaging, right? And 60% of our smartphone packaging will be made from recycled materials. We want to be energy efficient, emission reduction. So we have a lot of very specific goals. It's a big focus area that we've taken. We want to make sure that we are doing our bit to sustain, to drive, as you said, the sustainability in the environment. And then, of course, internally, we want to make sure that we are increasing our the diversity of our population in our own employees, whether it's women, whether it's underrepresented minorities. In fact, we are bringing in diversity into our product design, where we want to ensure that 75% of our products are actually go through our product diversity office, where we utilize the diverse workforce of Lenovo to design products that enable diverse people to use it, right? So I think this is an area that is of great focus for us. And what we want to do is work with partners. We realize that there are partners out there who also want to participate in this process, right? And there's a business aspect to it, where customers are demanding services and solutions, like, for example, how do you recycle material, right? So how do you do asset recovery services? So there is an element of taking those and trying to make sure that we are able to meet customers' goals, but also in their own businesses. How can they adopt ESG-related practices, and how can they contribute? And so as part of our Lenovo 360 that you will hear more, we want to make sure that partners who are interested in furthering on ESG, we will share our best practices. We will work with them to make sure that they are able to also do their bit for the environment. And of course, from a business perspective, we have a wide range of services and solutions, asset recovery services, recycling services, etc., where we would be able to work through our partners with their customers for that they also meet their ESG objectives and goals. It's a big focus area for us, for sure, Steve.
Okay, and now I'll move to my final question. We always like to think about a personal question to close these interviews. So for both of you, maybe we go to Sumir first. How will you thrive in 2022?
Well, first is I want to make sure that I'm spending more time face-to-face with our teams, our partners, and our customers. And there's something that I've missed so much in the last 2 years. You asked earlier about travel. As you know, I can't do a domestic travel on a plane or go outside Singapore, unlike Amar can go between cities. So I'm really looking forward to being in front of customers and going deeper, breaking bread with them. And this is going to be a really exciting year because there's a lot of transformation, and I just feel that there's so much to be done. There's so much of excitement, so much news to share. And doing this face-to-face is something that I'm really looking forward to. And yes, you asked this question earlier. Am I confident of 2022? I am, and I think we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. So very excited.
Amar, final words from yourself.
Thanks, Steve. No, so of course, I think everybody wants to get there face-to-face. For me personally, I've taken on this role of AP president 6 months ago, and I haven't been able to get out of my virtual office, right? So to me, it is really about being able to go and meet team, customers, partners, but also realize that there is just such a huge opportunity with this change. I think this whole thing of digitization has taken on a completely new meaning and has just accelerated. To your words, customers now need to learn how to thrive in this new world. Partners need to know how to thrive in this new world. I, as an individual, need to learn how can I work with my employees and make sure that Lenovo is able to work with customers and partners and drive our service-led transformation and thrive in this world, right? So I know I've used the word thrive quite often, but it's really about how can we bring all of this together. And in my position, I'm very excited with just the opportunity that is there and going out there, working with customers and partners to make sure that we can realize this, right? And if Lenovo can be the partner of choice for our partners and the brand of choice for our customers, I think it will be a fantastic and exciting 2022.
Amar, Sumir, thank you very much for your time. I've really enjoyed this interview, but I hope that next time we talk, we're in a restaurant together.
Absolutely.
Hope to see you soon.
Absolutely, Steve, and thanks for having us on this session. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank our partners. I know it's been very tough, especially with the supply. They've been very patient with us. I want to thank them for their business, thank them for their loyalty, thank them for their support, and I'm looking forward to exciting times ahead. Thank you, Steve.